2020 has been an amazing year for electric unicycles. We've had several new things introduced in electric unicycles in 2020, including suspension in the V11, Emotion V11, the Kingsong S18, and the Gotway X, all in their own separate, different way, involving different technologies, and meaning that every single one has different characteristics and different riding styles. The InMotion V11 sports a linear style of air shock with two air shocks on the sides of the wheel, and it's more, I guess I described it earlier better, it's more linear, so when you hit a bump, the motion of suspension, the dampening, is linear, as well as there's a saddle. The battery and the motor and all the components, the control board, all of that is on the wheel, and then you and the pedals and the saddle move independently, meaning that the majority of the weight of the wheel is not suspended with suspension. And then you move over to the Kingsong S18, which uses, I don't know what to call it, progressive suspension, maybe, more of a mountain bike style shock. They use a D&M shock, you can swap it out, it's very customizable. You can set the dampening level, there's just a lot more settings with this shock, it's a lot more easy to see, really stylish, really eye-catching. But it's not as sensitive to bumps absorbed when you're riding, just tiny little bumps. On a mountain bike track or a single track, it's going to be amazing for absorbing those bumps. But just that style of suspension isn't as good in certain areas. Then, just recently, we've got the introduction of the new Gotway X, or Gotway EX. Wheel is amazing. It's the first 100-volt suspension wheel, and that's not hard to do considering that there's only 3 on the market currently, and also considering that Gotway makes the only 100-volt wheels. Besides Veteran Sherman, the Veteran Sherman is a 100-volt wheel that's not made by Gotway. But the Gotway X uses one suspension shock inside the motor, so it's a hollow bore motor, meaning that you have a lot more space inside the core of the motor. So they've actually taken advantage of that space and used it to put suspension inside. It's really protected in that way. It's protected inside the motor. Really, there's pretty much no way to damage it except for the piston, the sliders on the bottom. You may damage those. I believe it's 2,700 watt-hour battery. Using 21700s as well, which is really nice. All of these wheels are using 21700s, which is really nice upgrade to the 18650s. I'm really looking forward to seeing the performance difference in those. But other than that, it's pretty regular Gotway. They've got all the weight of the wheel besides the actual suspension shock and the motor suspended, so it's similar to the Kingsong. In the end, we've got 3 different types of suspension, all introduced in the same year, which is absolutely incredible. And I wouldn't have foreseen this if I tried. It's absolutely incredible. So suspension is #1 upgrade to the electric unicycle market on the board. #2 is the introduction of hollow bore motors. This first came about, or that I first heard about it, was with the InMotion V11. They actually didn't announce it on the launch, I don't believe, but then we learned about it before, and I actually went and ordered an InMotion V11 when it was pre-production, and then I ended up canceling my order, just because it wasn't coming when I wanted it to come. And we'll have more on that later, I'll make another video about that. But hollow bore motors, I think, are one of the best things that could ever happen to electric unicycles. Axles are incredibly thin and brittle, and that's one of the only weak points of an electric unicycle, because you have to run big wires through it, and with the increasing size of batteries and the increasing power of motors, you need bigger and bigger wires. Gotway's now made the EX, as I mentioned earlier, but they're also making 2 new wheels, the Gotway RS speed and torque versions. So that's a minor upgrade of the MSP, with a new lighting scheme, new waterproofing on the charge ports, a real lift sensor button. Wish the trolley handle would have improved on that, but that's okay. But this really makes it more of an option for a lot more people, because of the lift sensor. I think that's one of the most important things. It's almost an in-motion lift sensor. And so I'm really happy that they managed to do this time. But still, it's a weak shell. There's still a few things that they need to improve. But I think it opens up a lot of doors for a lot of people. I never would have considered the MSX before. Now I might consider the RS as another wheel. We will see as time goes on, but Kingsong and InMotion have made one new wheel each, and they've chosen not to make any more. But this is, in my opinion, a good thing. We don't need any more tech, we don't need any more options. Just buy the wheel and go with it. Gotway, however, let's go with the RS, as well as the Monster Pro and the EX. So the EX is a suspension wheel, but 3 new wheels in like this small period of time. They just came out with the MSP like 3 months ago. So the RS I'm really looking forward to. EX as well. I don't like how it looks, but it's kind of utilitarian like the Veteran. But the Monster Pro I think is interesting. For some people it won't work at all. I would love it 100%, but I can only have one wheel, and I don't have enough money in my bank account to have 2 wheels. Wish I really did, but spending $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, that's Canadian dollars, on an electric unicycle is not an option. So having a wheel that can do everything, can do a bit of long range cruising, can do a bit of this, can do a bit of that, can get you up the stairs, get you down the stairs. You can walk up 3 flights of stairs if you really wanted to. Wouldn't recommend doing it every day, but with the Monster Pro, your arm would probably rip off. It's nearly 100 pounds, I believe, or just over 100 pounds, which is crazy. I mean, it does have a nice handle, but that's crazy. And like a 24-inch tire, like who is going to use that in a practical sense? Like, it's just a motorcycle. You want to have something to lock it up to a pole with. You want to be able to trolley it around everywhere. You want it to be smaller, but it can't be. I'm really looking forward to seeing what Veteran comes up with next, because their Sherman has been a huge hit in 2020. More people than I have ever seen are buying a brand new high-speed Veteran Sherman. It goes 70 kilometers an hour. It's like the most high performer on the market pretty much right now. And they're buying it as their first wheel, and they're learning on it. And I have not seen that before. Most people who buy a wheel are kind of skeptical. They're like, I don't really know. They get kind of pushed into it. I don't really know. Yeah, okay, I'll get the V8. And then they get the V8, and then they love it, and then they end up spending more money to get another wheel. So I'm really glad that people are buying expensive wheels and learning on them, because that means you never grow out of it. It's the best of the best of the best. 2020 has been an incredibly eventful year for electric unicycles and really the PEV nation. We just got 2 million views on Kujiroll's Veteran Sherman video, which means we've got a video that went viral, and that's absolutely incredible for the electric unicycle and PEV community. We need this to be outspoken a bit. So really glad we've had such a good year with electric unicycles, and I'm super stoked to be a part of it. And thank you all so much for watching my video. We will see you in the next one. Peace out.